Good evening. Tonight on CET, we've opened our phone lines, not to receive your financial contributions, but to let you ask questions about digital television. Hi, I'm Jack Dominic, and I'm here in the studio with Neal Schmidt, CET's chief engineer, and a group of knowledgeable CET staff members who are on the phones and are going to spend the next half hour answering your questions about DTV. So, pick up the phone or go to your computer and let us know what you want to know about digital TV. During the program, we'll show you some DTV equipment, tell you what to look for when you go shopping, we'll help you connect a DTV converter box to your old TV, and tell you where to get a government coupon to help you pay for that DTV converter. So, let's get started. We probably should start at the beginning. You know, in the late 1990s, the United States decided to go digital. Well, what does that actually mean? And I've got Neal here. Neal, we hear about digital, we hear about analog, but what does it mean for the viewer? Why do I care? What am I going to get with digital?
Well, first and foremost, you're going to get a better picture and better sound.
Okay.
You're going to get almost double the resolution with a high-def signal.
Now, what resolution means? It's just sharper?
Lines of resolution.
Okay.
Almost double. These are vertical lines,
right,
that with an HD TV, you'll get more than double what
it's something like you'd have a 35 millimeter picture looks better than a little tiny camera picture. So sharper.
That's right.
Okay. What about sound?
Sound, surround sound is available using the digital transmission.
That's where we have the front and back and the middle and the subwoofer and all that.
5.1, 7.1, we can do surround sound, which is much superior to stereo.
So it sounds better, it looks better. Now, what's this business we hear about multicasting? What does that mean?
Well, each of the stations is given the same amount of bandwidth.
Okay, a pipe.
A pipe, right.
Okay.
And in that pipe, you can use the entire 19.3
That's the size of the pipe.
megabits per second. Yeah.
Okay.
You can use that all for your HD TV.
High definition.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you can divide it up. You can use a certain amount for the HD, and you can use some for a standard def,
like we do.
Standard defs.
For instance, if you're watching CET in high definition, maybe right now you're watching on an HD set.
Correct.
You could go to, you're probably watching us on what we call 41.1, but if you go to 40.2, we disappear, and there's a whole other channel available. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay.
And we could decide to put 2 or 3 or 1 or whichever, however we want to divide the pipe up.
Okay.
That's
so
the way we can do it.
I'm getting better picture, I'm getting better sound, I'm getting more pictures, more programs. Now, what's this thing I hear about somebody, and I don't quite understand, a better use of the spectrum? What does that mean?
Well, the analog channels took up a lot more of the spectrum than the digitals will. The digitals can be adjacent channels.
So we're going to have pipes right next to each other.
Yeah, here in town we have a 33, a 34, a 35, and it uses much better, uses the available space a lot better so that the others can be auctioned off.
So in February, when we turn off channel 48, we're going to have some extra space, some extra spectrum, and what are we going to do with that?
It's gone.
It's
already been auctioned off, or some of it is about to be auctioned off.
So it's like cell providers, wireless providers.
Correct.
But I believe one of the good things is that it will allow first responders, fire, police to have more easier radio communication and data communication.
Yes.
Okay, so that's what we're doing. We're converting to digital, so that's the why, and we're doing this. Of course, right now, all of the stations in Cincinnati, all the full power stations, are already broadcasting in digital. Now, let's talk about what you need to do. Now, I'm going to role play.
All right,
here,
you go through the scenarios.
Okay, I'm going to go through the scenarios. Okay, I live in Harrison. I have Time Warner cable. What do I need to do? I don't have a digital set. What do I need to do?
Nothing. This show isn't much for you then, because with
Turn
cable,
it off.
you don't have to do anything. You don't have to get a set-top box. You don't have to get a digital TV.
Okay, now my neighbor down the road, I've got the digital cable box. I don't have a digital set. I just have an analog set. My neighbor down the road, in fact, he even told me, he asked me this question. He just has Time Warner, I think they call it Basic, and all he does is plug his TV into the cable, no cable box. What's he need to do?
He doesn't have to do anything either.
Same thing?
All of the cable companies have agreed with the FCC to continue running the basic cable just as they have for a minimum of 3 years.
So if
they can continue
if he's getting
after
Channel
that.
5, Channel 9, Channel 48, come February the 18th, when he wakes up in the morning, they're still going to be there.
Nothing's going to change. What they're going to do is take our digital signal, our high-def signal,
and make it
and down convert it and make it look just like the analog that they have.
He
now.
doesn't have to do anything. Okay.
Nothing.
Now, guy down the street has one of those little satellite dishes. What's he need to do?
Nothing again. The people with the satellite, all of the satellite services are going to do the same thing.
Okay.
If they carry our high def, they carry our high def. If they only carry our analog, what they're going to do is take our high def signal, down convert it. Nothing will change at all.
By the way, a lot of the things that we're talking about this evening, I'm going to stop here, is contained in this little brochure. And if you would like to get it, you can get it by calling us tonight. You can go on to cetconnect.org. Request it. You'll see some telephone numbers a little bit later on, and you'll be able to ask. A lot of the things we're covering is him. Now, my Aunt Esmeralda. She has the apple pie.
Everybody has one of those.
That's right. She makes the great apple pie. She has one of these things. I mean, she has an older set. It's color, but an older set, and she gets all the local channels, and she has rabbit ears. Now, what does she need to do?
Here's what she needs. She needs a set-top box.
Okay.
Everyone is talking about these now, and as you can see, it's a small unit, fits on the top of your television set, and in effect, all it is a new tuner.
It comes with a remote.
With a remote that you can usually control volume, change channels, do all of the things that you normally do with a remote control.
Okay, now, she has 2 TV sets. She has one in her family room, and she has one in the kitchen. Can she just connect this and put both TV sets on it?
No. She needs a set-top box for each analog television set that she's got.
Okay. All right. Now, where can I get them?
Any of the big box stores, any of the electronic stores. The good thing is the federal government is giving a $40 coupon.
I think you have one.
Yeah, just like this.
Right.
We'll be having up on the screen. We'll have the phone numbers and the
right. If you want
website.
One of these, again, as Neal mentioned, the federal government is providing you a way to save money on these boxes. You can receive 2 of these cards, these coupons, and what it allows you to do is to purchase them, and actually it's $40 off. And most of them, we've looked around. There are some less expensive ones, but generally speaking, we found that they're costing approximately $60. So with a $40 coupon, you have to use one with one. You can't put 2 40s and get money back. But, oh, thank you. Susan's got some questions for us. Thank you very much. They're coming in, and we're going to get to them very, very quickly. Let's just finish this up real quick. So you dial that. You can call the number on the screen, or you can go to the web page. You can get the coupon. Now they do have expiration dates.
That's right. In fact, this one is expired.
Okay, so 90 days, I believe, from the time you get it.
Correct.
Now, we have a question from a lady in Finneytown. And this is an interesting question, and I think it says, got a coupon from the federal government. On the letter, it lists places to buy. Do I have to go to the retailers listed on my letter? Very good question.
Right.
And the answer is
absolutely not.
no.
She can go anywhere. When you receive your coupons, you'll get a list of some nearby stores that have them available, but it's not necessary to go to one of those stores. And by the way, you don't need this coupon in order to buy it. This gives you $40 off, but if you want to just go buy one without having to go through the hassle, just go and buy the set-top box.
You know, this one just came in from Tom in Finneytown. Let me see if I can paraphrase it. He says his parents live in Finneytown, north, and it says, we know where it is, everybody knows where Finneytown is. And he says, my parents have just used rabbit ears, and they got one of the boxes for their kitchen, and when they turn it on, they get all the stations, but they don't get Channel 9. And they get good Channel 9 on analog. What's going on?
Well, as you can see in front of me, we have a few assorted antennas.
Okay.
This antenna is cut for UHF only.
Okay, so it's designed to pick up UHF frequencies.
That's right.
All right.
All of the DTV channels here in Cincinnati are on UHF currently, except Channel 9. They're actually on Channel 10, and it's a V.
And that can make a difference.
That can make a huge difference.
Okay. So what does his parents need to do?
Here are a couple of different antennas that they might be interested in.
We have one
now,
here.
This is an amplified one that has both the UHF antenna and a VHF antenna.
Okay, when you say VHF, is one of the ways to kind of tell if it's, you can look on the box if it's a new one, but you may have an old one. If it has this truly, what we, well, it has a broken rabbit ears, but if it has truly rabbit ears, these two sticks, then we're pretty certain that that is a VHF
That's
antenna.
right.
And then if it has the round thing plus that, so this antenna is good to go for both stations?
That's right.
Okay.
And not only is this a combination, but this is also an amplified antenna.
What does that mean?
It actually has amplification, and
Okay.
it plugs into an outlet,
Plugs
so
into
you
the wall.
know that it's an amplified.
All right. So
You know, you can turn it
I
on.
see
You
the
see
blue light
that it'll
on.
light up.
All right.
And you actually have variable attenuation on
Okay.
it.
Okay. So this is good.
Yeah, this is a very good antenna.
So everybody should go out and get one of these?
No.
Ah.
Although, if they have one, it's good anywhere. You can
Okay.
turn the amplification off, or you can actually turn it up.
Was it more better?
It depends where you live.
Okay, so you mean if I could over amplify it?
That's right. Too much amplification, again, is just as bad as not being able to get the signal.
So if I were setting this up, it would probably be a good idea to set it up with it turned off and see what happens.
That's right.
And if you're getting everything, you're good to go. If you're not getting one of the stations, you might say, okay, let's try it. So you can't overpower it. Is that
Yes,
what
correct. And in case if you wanted to get a signal from a long ways away, you might turn the amplification on.
Okay.
And then when you go to pick up your locals again, turn the amplification
Okay, Pete
on.
from Norwood called, and he said that he hears that there are two different kinds of set-top boxes. What's he talking about?
One of them actually passes through the signal when it's turned off.
Passes through what signal?
It will, when you turn the set-top box off, it will pretty much bypass the digital tuner, and you'll go back to your analog tuner.
So
that
your
you
TV
previously had.
goes back to normal.
Exactly,
And
the way it is
why would
now.
I care?
This is one of the markets in the United States where we have a couple of low-power stations.
Low power stations.
That's right.
Okay, and locally they're what, 25
And 38.
38. So if he obviously watches them
That's right. And these low-power stations are not going to go digital.
right away. I believe in a few years they are.
Eventually they will.
Okay.
So if you want to continue watching those stations after all the other analogs have shut down, then that's the best box for you.
Okay. I just saw a note from one of our floor producers who says we're getting a flood of calls, and you can use the other number and it'll go to voicemail, and we will pick up those calls as quickly as we can. Probably not tonight, but we're going to get back to everybody who calls one way or another, either on voicemail. If you can leave your message, we'll try to get back to you. If it's on email, we'll get back to you. I'm sorry, Neal. So we have these pass-throughs real quickly. So if he wants to continue to watch 38 and 25, he needs one of these.
Yes.
My understanding was they were hard to find at one time in this market, but you may have read on our blog or maybe in John Kieswater at the Enquirer, we were able to find some, and we know, for instance, that there's a Zenith now available at many Radio Shack stores. I'm not plugging any store, but that happens to be where it is, and it's a fine box. And it is a pass-through box, and you know the neat thing, it's the same price. So, but if I don't receive those channels and don't care to receive, do I need? How about a lot of people say, you know, channel 48, they're used to, oh, we're the UHF station. Do they need a special box? And no, they need the same box. Very quickly, lady called and said how about her remote control? The remote control that she has an analog set. Does she? Can she use her remote control? What goes there?
No, usually you'll use the remote control that comes with your set-top box.
Okay.
It's a very good remote control. It's got a menu. It's got you can listen to the SAP channels, the SAP channels. You can go through the menu, volume control, channel control. Just about everything you need is going to be on the.
Except to turn the TV on and off.
Yeah, you'll have to turn your TV on. Okay. This will only turn on the set-top box, but. It's a good remote that comes with most of them, and very effective.
Here's a question from David. This is an interesting question. He says he's on cable, and he says, how will the new TV format affect my ability to record on my replay TV, which I believe is a type of a TiVo? I guess the answer is, if he's connected to cable, what he's got now, there's no change, right?
No
Now,
change whatsoever.
remember, if you've got an analog recorder and an analog set, and you're getting an analog signal, you are going to get, you will not get a high definition picture, but you'll get the programming, right?
That's right.
Okay, very good.
And you can record that programming, by the way. You can take this set-top box,
you,
hook it
Susan.
up to your VHS machine, be
Here's
able to record it.
Here's a great question. This came in from Cheryl. Actually, this is a great question. How soon should she hook up her DTV converter?
Well, why not hook it up right now?
All the stations
All
are
of the
broadcasting.
the local full power stations are already broadcasting in digital.
Mm-hmm.
You might as well hook it up now. You'll probably get better pictures. You know, you might as well hook it up.
That's right.
Test it, make sure everything's okay. You don't want to wait till the last minute.
That's right. Yeah, if you do need a different antenna or you need to reorient your antenna, it'd be great to figure that out. Before you go to bed on, you know, I keep telling people the only snow I want people to see when they wake up on February the 18th is not
outside.
on the ground. we don't want it on inside.
That's right. You might as well hook it up right away. Take a look at it.
Here's a good question from Kayaka. I apologize for not pronouncing your name correct. After the cutoff, will the signals be boosted? In other words, are we already operating? Is it going to get better after we turn off CET? He's talking about CET.
Yeah, CET is operating at full power now.
Okay.
We haven't applied for any changes in our power. One of the stations in town, I believe, is just operating at a little bit lower power than they're licensed at, but you know, eventually everyone will get to 100% power, but we're there now. CET is.
Okay. Here's an interesting one, and we've got a couple of these, so I think a lot of people might. They said that they bought two boxes of the same kind, and they turned them on, and they get some of the channels, but they don't get channel 9 and they don't get channel 48. And you know what could be the problem? So actually, I guess it could be a number of problems.
Right. Usually, it's just changing your antenna a little bit and resetting it. And after you do that, it's a good idea to, if you wanted to look at 48 and you were getting nothing, just instead of scanning and seeing if we're there, just put 48 in. Just see if you're getting a signal. Yeah. And then maybe do a complete rescan after that and let it scan, and it will pick us up.
What Neal's relating to here is that when you buy the box and you first turn it on, it goes through and it looks for all of the stations in the greater Cincinnati market that are digital, and then it loads that into memory. And if for some reason, I don't know, the antenna was off a little bit when you did that original scan, if you just use the up and down on the remote, it doesn't know that 48 is there. So you're essentially saying to really check it out, just go to the remote and go 48, enter, and if you get the signal then you know you can still get a signal and you may want to rescan.
Right.
If you're not getting a signal, that's when this amplified antenna might be an issue.
That's right.
And there are, unfortunately, I almost hate to bring this up because we know this for a fact because of places around the city. There are places that will not get our signal, and other stations. We call them nulls. And there's just nothing you're going to do about
it.
And they're few and far between.
Right.
But they do exist. And in fact, there are nulls in analog as well. The difference is that in analog, you might get a snowy picture. But in digital, if the digital doesn't have enough signal strength to give you a perfect picture, it says, we're out of here. Wow.
That's right.
We can't do it.
Right, and there's a thing called multipath where the same signal is going straight to an antenna, and another one might be bouncing off a building or a wall. In analog, all you'll see is a ghost.
Okay.
The multipath in digital is completely different. Sometimes you won't get anything.
Okay. Mary Jane from Northern Kentucky. She has a VCR, and she gets off the air. She had two questions. First of all, if she buys a new digital television set, can she still watch her Can she still watch her tapes?
Oh, sure. All of the new digital sets still normally have a component and a composite input.
These are these
right.
crazy
So you
plugs.
could Yeah, you could take video and audio, the two audio channels, out of your VHS, put them into a separate input that's on the DTV.
So she can still watch. Now, can she record?
Yes. In that case, she takes either an F connector like this and goes from the F connector directly into the VHS machine, or she can do video and audio directly out of this into the VHS machine.
But it's not high definition.
That's right. And then the VHS machine goes straight into the television.
Now, if she wants a true high definition video, I guess what she'd need to do is get a DVR or one of the, and many of the cable companies provide that. You can buy them off the shelf, etc.
Right.
Very quickly, Dave is asking. Dave's a smart guy here, but it bears repeating what you were saying before. He said, I have cable and satellite already. Will the HD TV broadcast still need their own separate channel? For an example, if he will Time Warner still have a channel 5 and a 905? And the answer is probably, because
yes, they probably will.
They'll have the 5 for the people who have the standard,
the basic
analog set, and they'll have the 905 for the people who have the high definition.
I suspect that they'll try and keep the analogs down on the lower channels, just where they are now, so as not to confuse people.
Okay, what do you do? This is a toughie. Actually, I had one of these on my blog the other day, and you can go to my blog and I have an answer to this one, but here it is. What do you do with a 5-inch TV that runs on batteries, and how do you handle this? Well, the answer is you can still use the TV. The problem is that I haven't seen any DTV converters that run on batteries.
No.
Now, if you're really, really handy, these things only pull about 7 watts. So you could get a car battery and you could get an inverter. But you know what, Neal? I was out at one of the big box stores just recently, and people, when they think of digital televisions, they're thinking, oh, hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars. You can buy a digital television set for $150, $120.
Just like any other, it looks just like an analog set.
Right.
Everything is identical.
Has a digital.
It has a digital tuner.
So you might want to think about that. I mean, but if you're handy, I mean.
Well, they do have small battery-powered television sets with a digital tuner.
So you just have to find a way to. And the other way, of course, if you have a laptop, for those of you who are really techies, you can buy a very small DTV USB card and then run it up. I mean, but that's for the techies. We're not talking to techies.
That's right.
Will all stations go digital in February? Well, we answered that, but let's reiterate it.
Correct. All of the full power stations here in Cincinnati will go, or all have already gone. The low power, the 2 channels that we have that are low power.
Right. And eventually,
I don't know what kind of a time span.
Yeah, I don't think it's been official, but eventually we're all going to go digital because it makes sense. It is a better quality picture, and eventually we will. But you know, we really don't know exactly when that's going to happen. No. All right. We are getting tons of calls, and let me remind you that we will respond to all of them. Maybe not tonight, but we will get back to you. So please keep the phones coming in. This lady lives between Cincinnati and Indianapolis, and she bought a DTV converter, but only gets the Cincinnati channels now. How can she get the full range of channels from Indianapolis as before? It's probably an antenna issue,
yeah,
right?
now it's pretty tricky. If she would like to get all of the Cincinnati stations and the Indianapolis stations, she's probably going to have 2 antennas.
Or a rotor.
And it becomes much more complex at that point when you start mixing antennas.
Because the digital antenna is really, the orientation is a little bit more problematic. Is that correct? Oh, Susan's got some more.
We've got about 50 voice messages already.
Okay, thank you. We understand we have about 50 voice messages. We'll get to them. Probably not tonight, I will tell you that, but we will get back to you as soon as possible with your questions. Again, many of the answers to your questions will be found in this brochure called Cut Through the Static, and we can send that to you. You can call our voicemail, and we'll send that to you, and we'll be happy to do so. Okay? Let's try to get some more in here, though, Neal, before we... Comcast and Time Warner, prior to... If cable goes totally digital, will a converter box work for this? And I think they're referring to this converter box? And the answer is probably no.
No, I don't think the cable companies would like to deliver using somebody else's box.
Well, and it also, this particular box, the way it's still picking up full channels, and they really slice and dice the
That's right.
a lot. But so you're probably not going to be able to use this other than to receive off the air.
That's right. That's what it's designed for.
Right. And it's essentially a transitional product too, because eventually you're going to replace your television set, and right now you can't buy, well, legally you can't buy an analog set unless it has this great big thing on the front of it that says, will not work after 2000,
That's right.
2008.
And remember, there are 20 or 30 or different set-top boxes like this. Okay. We really haven't found any bad ones, you know.
Okay, if I can't, you're not going to like the answer to this one, ma'am. If I can't afford the boxes, even after the coupons, how will I be able to watch TV? Go to Sears and sit in the lobby. I don't want to make fun of it, but you don't have a choice.
Right.
Perhaps you can find somebody who's not using their DTV coupon.
And that would
and
probably
I feel sorry
help
for
her
people
out a lot.
like that. Yeah, and I don't mean to make light of it, but
right, it's unfortunate,
yes.
but we have to make this move.
This is another one. It's probably an antenna. This person, they have this converter, but the reception is not good. They're not getting a clear picture. That kind of, I'm not sure what they mean by clear. That sounds a little strange, because it should be either clear or not there, right?
That's right. There's a problem with that. She's probably looking at analog channels.
Right, and we do find that does happen. Has a converter. This is the same thing. Has a converter picture is fuzzy. Now, the one thing that could be is the connection between the converter.
That's right.
And we talked about this. We'll do it very, very quickly. If you have a lot of devices, you have a converter, and maybe you have a VCR, and maybe you have a DVD player, and they're all sitting there on your shelf, what you don't realize is that they all have little tiny television stations built into them, broadcasting on Channel 3 and Channel 4. And sometimes you can actually have these things competing with one another. So you would be wise, whenever possible, to connect your components with these types of plugs, which we call AV plugs. And that really is the way to do it if you possibly can, because then you're not using all those little TV
Correct.
things.
If you have all those modulators on Channel 3, you're going to get a fuzzy picture. Okay. Use the audio-video inputs if you can.
Okay. Converter box hooked up to a 13-inch set with antenna. Color goes in and out. That, again, sounds
like probably a connection problem somewhere along the line.
Okay. I'm sorry, Neal. You've been a trooper. Thanks for all your help tonight.
Oh, it's great to answer these kind of questions.
And we may do this again sometime if you think it's important for us to do so. We've got one thing here. Yes, we're going to stay on the phones. Yes, we are, and we will still be here on the phones. It's all the time we have right now. Our phone bank will remain open. After 9 o'clock, you can send your questions to Tech Questions via email at techinfo at cetconnect.org, or you can call our Tech Info line at 513-345-6512. But we're going to be here in the studio with a regular number right now, and we'll try to take as many of your calls as we possibly can. We will indeed try to answer as many of the questions as we possibly can. We're out of time. For the entire staff of CET, have a good evening.
Any use or rebroadcast of this copyrighted program or portions thereof is prohibited without the express written approval of CET.